What is the community like in Birmingham, Alabama?
Okay, so again, I'm from Miami and Corey is from Toronto. So thank God, both large Jewish communities.
My
Um,
hometown, yeah.
yes. um, so Birmingham, Alabama is, first of all, it's beautiful. It's everyone is so surprised when they come. It's never what anyone imagines. Um, I'm expecting to get tons of people messaging me after this, asking to come visit us. Um,
Right.
the Jewish community is beautiful, very small though. So there is Chabad of Alabama, which is an incredible Chabad house, so active and bustling. Um, there's like every
I spoke, by the way, to the shlucha, and she said, "You are so amazing."
oh, that's so
Um,
sweet.
yes.
Did you know her? Who did you speak with?
No, no, from E. Posner?
Oh, yes. For me,
Yeah,
is amazing, like a
she
surrogate
is
mother there. Um,
wow.
yeah, they're all so amazing, and just, like, different and, like, they each have, like, different roles, obviously for the community, but, like, for us as well, like, they just it's incredible. So, yeah, so there are 3 couples there, 3 shluchim, in Birmingham, and, um, and so
That's
it's
actually a
incredible
lot
that
for a small place,
I know.
right?
It's
Yeah.
it's yeah. So it's amazing, like, what they have, but it doesn't really
It's not
it's not
Miami.
enough. It's
Right.
yeah, it doesn't fill the voids and it doesn't take away the challenge. And to be honest, I think that was slash is part of the hardest part of this all. And again, I remember I said earlier on, like, that God really only like lets us process what we need to process at the time. I think like
Mm,
sometimes if we knew everything that we would know all at once, it would be too much for us, or it
mm,
would not allow us to make the decisions that God knows we need to make.
right.
And I remember thinking at a certain point, the journey has been filled with a lot of lows and a lot of highs, thank God. But I remember thinking at one point, like, if I knew the isolation and the loneliness that we would feel, I
Mm,
really don't know that I would have chosen the program in Birmingham or any of this, or, um,
mhm,
it really is very challenging,
mhm.
in general to go through challenges, but then to go through them, you can't even just like drive to your mom's house. You can't,
Right.
you know, call your friend and go for lunch. Um,
Sure.
there's no kosher restaurants. Making friends at an older age is difficult, but especially in the stage of life that we're in, it's just very challenging. You're
Of
moving to a
course.
place because of this massive undertaking, and so no one really knows like the Ariella that I really am. It's like they only know the
Right.
Ariella that's, trying to get a transplant or that had a transplant, and it's difficult to sort of like jump into a community at that stage of life.
Of
Um,
course. For sure.
so yeah, it
Wow.
has its
For sure.
challenges for sure.
Very challenging. Wow. So you started there the program, and what happened?
So
How
we
long was the
moved
program?
So we moved there in the end of June. We got listed, right? So like with any organ transplant, you get listed on, with UNOS. And we got listed in July. And because this is so new and so revolutionary, there's not really statistics. Like whenever we talk with doctors, we always kind of laugh because with statistics, when the bottom number is so small, it's kind of like negligible. So
Mm,
they could say what they know based on previous patients. But again, it doesn't hold that much weight. And so if you were to say, oh, how long is the typical wait time? There is no typical. So you could be waiting a month, a year, a minute, 5 years. Like there's just hard to
they don't
say.
know. Right.
Um, so we ended up getting the call in November. So from
Mhm.
July to November, it felt like an eternity.
Of course.
But I guess
Especially because you
looking
don't know when. You don't know, like, how long it could be, like you said, it could be a year, it could be more, you don't know at
exactly,
that point. Yeah.
exactly. Um, looking back, thank God it was relatively
But
quick.
quick, right.
Um, and that's just to sort of get the journey started. There's a lot of phases
Right.
on the journey. So we got the call, and I got the transplant in November. Um,
Wow.
Yes. So I'll just share for a second the timing of the transplant. It's just too good. And looking back, like I said, I wouldn't have even wanted to get the call a week earlier or a month earlier because God made the timing so great. Like you couldn't have written it better. So luckily, we don't write the script, but we got the call on a Shabbos, and it was Parshas Lech Lecha, which is the parsha all about having to like leave your hometown and going on this journey, and God will show you the path. And I remember thinking on Friday, like, we are on a Lech Lecha. Like we literally left our hometown and moved to Birmingham and like have no clue what we're doing. And then the next day got the call. And then the
Wow.
transplant was that week. So the transplant itself was the parsha of Vayera, which is the parsha where God says that he remembered Sarah,
Mm.
and blessed her to become pregnant. And it's actually brought down that Sarah too was born without a uterus. The Gemara says
Wow.
that. And so the timing of it all was just very
Incredible.
touching and miraculous. Yes. And we basically had you have a certain amount of time to like accept or reject the offer. You
Mm.
hear a tiny bit about the donor. Um, my program is a deceased donor program.
Mhm.
Um, and so we, spoke with the surgeon, heard about the offer, and the family as well has to sort of um, allow for that donation because uterus is so new. It's not on that initial list of if a person is an organ donor, certain things are obvious and the given. Uterus is not. And so, thank God, we're very grateful, of course, to our donor, to her family as well, that they allowed for that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Wow. Wow.